extreme. But we're going to talk about CBDC, Mark of the Beast, and a couple things going on in the world right now. But just as I'm hiking, I'm seeing this new growth right here, and this is a koya, or I'm sorry, not a koya, a candlewood. These little things right here, the deer like to eat these, and you can use them. This is what the full bush looks like. Looks dead all year round. It looks dead, but then whether it rains or not, it always produces its fruit in due season. Always produces these little flower buds right here, and they taste like lemonade. So it just shows that no matter what happens, God provides every single season, right? No matter how bad the outlook is. Look, here's another candlewood bush. No matter how bad things look, this is what God does every year. He makes this stuff come out. It's not just that, it's with everything else. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world that we've got to worry about. But God very clearly said in Genesis 8:22 that he will never, as long as the earth continues to remain, he will never fully destroy the land again. There will always be planting and harvest. There will always be cold and heat, and there will always be day and night. And these plants that he tends to, his garden, the rest of the world, his garden, will never fail. Will never fail. Not unless he does it himself, right? And it really just kind of brought a peace over me as I'm seeing all these things go on all over the world. Russia getting ready to start stationing tactical nukes in Belarus. They announced that today. Things going on in Israel. There was a image hanging in a government building in Israel, which showed the Temple Mount without the Dome of the Rock on. It was Temple Mount with no Dome of the Rock. And so obviously that's, causing stink amongst the Arab world. And all this right around the time of Ramadan. So you're seeing, these tensions escalate quite a bit. And that's kind of just, rubbing salt in the wound, so to speak. As these people are, hey, how you doing? Celebrate their holy days. This comes out, and but these things are going to happen, right? This kind of stuff is prophesied. So what God said is going to happen is going to happen. And there's nothing we can do to stop it. The only thing we can do is prepare for it, right? So that's what we got to do. And I'm not sure if you guys have been following what's going on or what could be going on with the United States dollar, but the president of Kenya just yesterday told his people to make sure that they use up all the dollars they have, because very soon the dollar is going to be totally worthless. So what does he know? That's the question. I read that article from Hal Turner's website. I'm not 100% convinced of what he says all the time, but I do listen to him, and I do consider what he says, and I do kind of think that there's a possibility that these nations could be conspiring to stop using the dollar altogether. It makes sense, why wouldn't they do that? The dollar really is useless, and our government just print as much as they want, whenever they want. So, yes, the people that buy our bonds, the people that buy our treasury bonds, are seeing that our government spending is reckless. It's reckless. And so why would they continue to hold our bonds? Why would they continue to invest in a country that overprints its currency? I mean, it definitely appears as though it's going to cause hyperinflation. And, if the people of, Kenya are talking about that, why aren't we? Why aren't we? They say that it's called Operation Sandman. Operation Sandman is supposedly a plan which has been devised by, I think they said 134 countries to all ditch the dollar at the same time. All of them. They want to ditch the dollar all at the same time. And what effect would that have on our nation? It'd be devastating. And they, the president of Kenya said it's only weeks away. So, are you prepared to deal with something like that? Right? Are you prepared for that? And what could we expect? What could we expect to happen right after that? The Federal Reserve is trying to fast track the rollout of their central bank digital currency. And, if you've been a subscriber to my channel for any amount of time, you know what I think about that, right? Let's just go over the basics on why the CBDC is unconstitutional, right? I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. And I actually, I'm asking you guys to take notes, because no one's bringing these points up. I'm not trying to, toot my own horn or anything like that, but these topics need to be talked about, needs to be addressed, and people need to bring this to the public consciousness. We need to talk about how the CBDC is unconstitutional, why it's unconstitutional, and these are the reasons just that I see. And maybe there's more reasons why it's unconstitutional, but I'm going to lay them out as I see it. So I'm asking you guys to pay attention to what I'm about to say, and to start bringing these points into the public consciousness, right? The central bank digital currency is going to be a violation of Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution. Article 1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution very clearly says that nothing but gold and silver is to be used in payments of debt in this country. Gold and silver, okay? I'm sorry, but that central bank digital currency, that's not it, all right? Central bank digital currency is also going to be a violation of the First Amendment, the Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, and Seventh Amendment. And let's talk about why that is. The central bank digital currency is going to violate your right to be secure in your person's papers and effects. All right, so what that means is the government can't just take or seize or search anything that belongs to you without a warrant, right? The central bank digital currency will be searching your personal your papers, right? The Fourth Amendment says you have the right to be secure in your person's papers and effects. The central bank digital currency will be searching your papers without a warrant. That's just the nature of the CBDC, right? It is a violation of your privacy right out the bat, okay? And if they find something in your papers that they don't like, they can be judge, jury, and executioner and turn off your wallet, right? That is a violation of the Fifth, Sixth, and Seventh Amendment right there. How so? The Fifth Amendment says that you are not to be required to testify against yourself. Well, if they're searching out your papers without a warrant, and those papers are testifying against you, then that means you are being required to testify against yourself. You don't have an option here. They're searching your information without a warrant, and then they're using that information against you. That's a violation of the Fifth Amendment. You would literally be testifying against yourself. Okay, so that's how it's a violation of the Fifth Amendment and the Fourth Amendment. It's going to be a violation of the Sixth and the Seventh Amendment, because you're not going to have a trial by jury here. If they decide that you're doing something that they don't approve of, that doesn't line up with their ESG initiative, they're going to shut your wallet down. That's without trial, right? You will not have the right to recuse yourself. You will not have the right to challenge that. You will not have a jury of your peers in that type of case. It's just flat out. They decide whether or not you're guilty, and if you're guilty, they turn your wallet off. Right? That's how a CBDC is going to function. It is on its face, it is an attack. It is an affront against the United States Constitution on its face. And we need to talk about it, and we need to bring up the reasons why it is unconstitutional. It's not just something that we need to give lip service to, like CBDC is a bad thing. Well, why is it a bad thing? The reasons I just laid out to you are precisely why it's unlawful, precisely why it's unconstitutional, and precisely why every constitutional officer is required, has a duty to fight it, right? And that's one of the reasons why you're starting to see patriots actually rise up in Congress. Ted Cruz just the other day introduced a bill to ban CBDCs. I applaud him for that, and we ought to get behind him. Whether you agree with all of what he's done or not, the fact of the matter is, this one thing is correct. This is correct, and we ought to get behind him. And it's not, and this isn't really something that the mainstream media has been talking about very much, and it's extremely important. There are very few states who are doing things that are similar, right? And Texas really is taking the lead here. Texas is starting to ban these woke ESG and banks and investment firms from conducting business in Texas. And so you might want to have plans to get out of Dodge, because once this thing goes live, and it's very close to going live, they're going to roll out the Fed Now soon. And the Fed Now is basically, it's going to be the CBDC for banks, where they're going to the banks are going to be able to do settlements with each other using CBDC. That's how it's going to start first. But we need to be loud about it. How that right there is unconstitutional. It's illegal. It's illegal according to the United States Constitution. That kind of stuff should not be allowed. And we need to resist, and we need to fight that. We need to make sure that our legislators hear us, and we need to make sure that we are loud and clear about that. Right. And that's the other thing I mentioned. It's going to be a violation of the First Amendment. Right? But I didn't explain why. It's going to violate the First Amendment because if you say something online that they disagree with, they're also going to be able to shut your wallet down. By its very nature, they want a programmable currency, a currency that they can program and decide what you're authorized to purchase. Okay, that is just that. If you want slavery, then go ahead, sign up for it. But as for me, we're going to resist it. There are ways to get around that kind of stuff, but I would much rather not have to get around that stuff. I would much rather make my voice heard on this matter and convince our legislators to say hell no, right? Is that going to happen? I don't know. I think it's very improbable. But, we're coming into a time where the mark of the beast is getting really, really close, okay? We're already seeing these nations move towards collapsing the dollar. We're already seeing all of these nations start fulfilling contracts with each other in currencies other than dollars now, and they're signing up for the CBDC. They're They're like, give me the mark, give me the mark, and they're conducting business with it already. So what they have to do in order to get full domination and control over the world is that they have to totally subjugate the American people. Why is that? Why is that so important for them to do? Because there are so many of us, and we are so well armed and so well equipped that we actually do pose a threat to their hegemony. We really honestly do. They know it, but we don't really know it. And that's why they really need to not mess this one up. Because if they mess this one up and they allow us to unite and to push back, then it's all over for them. There's nothing left for them after that. Because why would we stop at liberating ourselves, right? If they try to do this here in this country and they exile us from conducting commerce to the point to where you've got tens of millions of Christians who would not take the mark of the beast, and they exile us into the mountains, do you think we're going to just stay there in the mountains? No, we wouldn't. If they think they're going to exile us and nothing is going to happen and there's going to be no retaliation, they are extremely naive, and they are not planning for reality, because we're talking about tens of millions of people, well armed, well equipped, well trained. And if they want to push us over the edge, that's the way to do it. And like I said, after we finish liberating ourselves, what's to make them think we wouldn't go and liberate our neighbors after that? Because we've got the capability to do it. So anyways, I'll just leave it at that. But there are quite a few happenings right now, in Israel, in Ukraine, in Europe, all over the place. And I don't know. Let me get to the comments. Let me see what you guys are saying. Wow, I got 27 in here. That's quite a bit more than I usually do. Let's see how things are going. Witness for Justice, how you doing? Watchman, he will never flood it, but he will make it desolate. Yeah, he'll destroy the grass and most of the trees, if I remember correctly. But there will be stuff still around. Let's see. Hi, Doug Elton. New days, old ways. Good to see you. Watchman, feeling depleted. Yeah, right. I got you. Watchman, new days. Crown Jewels Music. How's it going? Good to see you. Tell Dabu I said what's up. Isaiah 11:1, as in the days of Noah. Yep, absolutely. That's where we're at right now. The project I'm working on is called Apocalyptic Linguistics, volumes 1 to 7. 7 albums, 7 songs on each album, and all albums titled with a 7 in it. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. I'll have to check it out. Let's see. America is under now. There's no way out of debt she has put on herself. I agree with you, Watchman. But, we can go back to gold and silver. You could still get silver dimes, silver quarters, silver half dollars, and silver dollars. And the way it is that's actually currency in the United States. It's still considered legal tender. So you can use that to barter with people. And the government can't say anything about it. The powers that be would have no say over that. If you want to, sell a dozen eggs for a silver dime, and your neighbor wants to pay you a silver dime for that, there's nothing they can say regarding that. You could say, I'll take a silver dime, or I'll take, a $5 bill, whatever. And there's nothing they can say. But if you use a foreign silver coin, then they might be able to get you on that. But if it's an old silver dime or silver quarter or whatever, they're not, you're still legally allowed to use those. It's still United States currency. So that's primarily what I got stocked up, or silver dimes, silver quarters, half dollars, and I've got those what do they call them, gold backs. I really like those goldbacks. Those are pretty cool, and you're allowed to use those in certain states. I think Utah, Nevada, and some other places. So that's why I got them in case I decide to go there for some reason. But we might trade with them here in Texas too. So we'll see. Right now, it's like the movie Clint Eastwood, the bad guy after him, was paying somebody to beat him up. That's what we're doing when you pay them. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Dirty Harry. Elton Butterfield, good to see you. Watchman chat. Let's see. 8 is my check-in number. Always. Arnold Schmidt, always. Elton Arnold Smith. I'm late. It's all right. No problem. Do as that will. Gang the corporate generating corpse. Yeah, exactly. They can and will micromanage your life. You're absolutely right about that, Chad, but not if we don't let them. This is from the Watchman. You're going to find it hard to run with just plastic. Also, at least, even if currency crashes, people will still some faith in the greenback. Yeah, maybe. I'm not placing my trust in the greenback at all. What I'm placing my trust in is that let me just turn this camera around. What you see here, all this will still be able to sustain us. Just here I'm seeing a whole bunch of prickly pear cactus, each one of those like a potato. I'm seeing all this yucca all over the place. I'm seeing that sotol. I don't know if you can see it. I'm seeing that sotol right there. That's a loaf of bread in itself, and at the bottom is a big ball that has a whole bunch of carbohydrates in it. There's amaranth. There's all kinds of stuff. When the prickly pears fruits come out, I'll have the prickly pear fruit. And there's so much more. Even though this place right here looks desolate, God still provides. I mean, there is so much out here. I mean, just take a look at the candlewoods right there. They've got their buds on them right now. So if I want some kind of flavored drink, I can take those buds off, and it's going to have protein in there too. It's not just like a normal. It's going to actually provide sustenance. So and all the mustard. As I was walking up here earlier today, there was tons of mustard that I saw on the side of the trail, and it just it really kind of like brought a peace over me. Seeing all of that out here in a place that is most people would consider desolate. It's a really good sign. And the amount of mustard that I wish I took a picture of it, but the amount of mustard that I saw today was probably, I want to say, 25 times the amount of mustard that was there last week. It's a significant amount of food, and we can harvest it, we can dry it out. I can just save it as a dry herb to add it to soup base or whatever. I can feed it to my chickens. I can feed it to my donkeys. I could catch rabbits and feed it to them. I mean, the possibilities are endless, and they're jam-packed full of vitamins and minerals. So, being able to identify that stuff is pretty much half the battle. But God does all the work, right? All we have to do is collect. I mean, really, literally, just have your hands out and be willing to take. I mean, let's go down here. I'm going to show you this yucca. Let me go down here and take a look at this yucca. I didn't even know these were out. And I'm just now seeing this one. Man, I hope the coyotes aren't down here. I know that where I'm going right now, I know for a fact that there's a den of coyotes down here because I've seen them before. And usually I have my pistol with me, but I don't have it today. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a rock. Let's see. I'm going to grab this rock right here. But look, let me turn the camera around. You see that? You see all of that prickly pear cactus right there? Every single one of them looks fantastic. Fantastic. It is full of moisture. Each one of them is basically like a little potato. So this little island right here is actually where the coyotes have their den. But I'm going to go ahead and walk right into the den myself anyways. And this is usually they run from you. But this is a trail that the coyotes take. Let me just make sure there's no rattlesnakes around the corner. 1 second. I don't usually come back here. I have before, and the reason why I don't continue to come back here is because of the coyotes. But anyways, look at that. Look at that yucca. These things are beautiful. Those flowers are edible. Those are all edible, right? These things right here, these spikes, they produce really good cordage, amazing cordage, and soap, natural soap. You just crush these things in water, and the water just turns soapy. But look, the plant is protecting those flowers with these spikes. And who else is going to get those aside from some bees, some bugs, some birds, and us, right? We can get those easily, but all the other animals, not so much. And those are edible. Those are edible, and they taste really freaking good. They actually taste really good. So that just, to me, it proves like God put that here for us. God didn't put that here for the deers, because the deer can't get it. The coyotes can't eat it. So who else is it for? Who's it for? That's just the way I look at things. You might look at things your own way, but these little plants here, these little prickly pear cactus, my chickens love these things. And look, they're everywhere, all over the place. Look, there's one right there. They're everywhere. So I personally am not afraid of this CBDC, because God provides. So even if the mark of the beast rolls out, right? I know God said in Genesis 8 and Genesis chapter 8, verse 22, as long as the earth exists, he promised that there will always be planting and harvest. There will always be winter and summer. There will always be night and day. That is a promise that he made. And what that means is these kinds of plants are always going to be here. Whether our agricultural system is stabilized or fails or whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He is going to provide. That's his name. He provides. God provides. That's one of his names. Do you think he's going to fail? No, he's not. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of Goliath. Trust in God. Trust in God always, because that's when you will start to see the little miracles that he does every day, right? And he wants to bring us out. He wants to give us the kingdom. He wants to give good gifts to his children, right? We just have to have our hand out to accept his rock, to accept his salvation. That's Jesus Christ. That's Jesus Christ. And that's what's important. Because once that rock, Jesus Christ, falls onto the feet of the statue of Babylon, once the rock comes from the mountains and lands on the feet of the statue, it's all going to be brought to nothing. It's all going to be brought down. We're talking about Nebuchadnezzar's dream here in the book of Daniel, right? When Nebuchadnezzar was given that dream, and he forced all of his fortune tellers and mystics to try to tell him, what was the dream that I had? Recall to me the dream and explain it to me. Otherwise, he said, I'm going to kill all of you if you don't do this. Nobody was able to tell him what the dream was that he had, except for Daniel. And Daniel told him, recanted his or recalled his dream to him. He said, this is what your dream was, O king of Babylon. This is what you saw. You saw a statue, and this is what it means. And there's going to be a rock that is cast at the feet of his statue, which is mixed with iron and clay. This is going to be a kingdom that is divided against itself. This is going to be a kingdom that God himself destroys. And its destruction is going to be magnificent. It's going to be magnificent. And there's a very good possibility that we could be here to witness it and to inherit the earth after that. Because there will be 1,000-year reign. And the saints of Christ who are persecuted during the tribulation and beheaded for keeping their testimony are going to be resurrected. They will experience the first resurrection. And they will reign with Christ for 1,000 years. That is a promise. That is a promise in the book of Revelation, right? So, be ready for these things, right? Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love, my Christian brothers and sisters who, even though, they believe it with their whole heart, they teach that we won't be here for a tribulation. I'm sorry, I disagree with them. I disagree with them wholeheartedly. I do believe that the Bible is very clear that there's going to be a tribulation, and the tribulation is the persecution of the saints. That is what the tribulation is. The saints will be persecuted, and if they don't deny Christ, they're going to be beheaded. Otherwise, why would God promise them to reign with Christ for 1,000 years after the resurrection? He was very clear. He said those who were beheaded for their testimony, they're going to be the first ones to be resurrected, and they're going to reign on earth with Christ for 1,000 years. So, if you're brought in front of them, and they tell you, deny Christ, don't do it. You have a reward, and you ought to know where your reward is. You ought to know what those promises are, and it should bring you peace. That kind of thing should bring you peace. So, anyways, guys, let me get back to the comments real quick here. Let's see. Destroying Ukraine now like a scuttle with depleted uranium. Yeah, I believe it. It's terrible what they're doing over there. And I saw the other day they're just dumping grain out on the road and letting it rot, just letting the birds and the animals eat it when people are actually starving all over the world. You're going to find it hard to run with. Okay, I'm a little bit. Let me see. Let me try to catch up. Be prepared, Boy Scout motto. Absolutely, Rome. Thanks, Elton Butterfield, for posting that. I appreciate it. I typically would ask my mods not to post the Buy Me a Coffee link during the Prophecy Watch. I'm not trying to get the wrong message across here. The Prophecy Watch it's not about making money here. I'm trying to bring the things of God to the forefront of your mind. And I don't ask I don't ask for money for that. But I do appreciate it, Elton. I understand trying to help out, and I appreciate that. I've been drinking, let's see, Rome, USA. I've been drinking muddy water, sleeping in a hollow log, going back to Washington to shoot that man that killed my dog. I never heard that one before. Sounds like a rhyme. We have a lot of edibles here on the mountain. So many berries. Yep. Same here. Even though it looks desolate, wise out, we still got quite a bit. There's two ways: running by foot or by sailboat, and the ocean, and prepping and living that way. Yep. That's good to know. Probably more food there than in the woods. Yep. We're told to flee Babylon because we don't want to be destroyed because of her sins. Getting away from the people that stay with the system. That's right, Watchman. That's right. Witness for Justices in Arizona. If you guys want to network, feel free to do so in the comments here. Cowboys 8 panel protected species. Yep. I think you're talking about. I think maybe you're talking about the yucca. Yeah, you're probably right. But let's just say, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to see it, did it fall? Let's just put it that way. Whether it's a protected species or not, I'm not really concerned. It's God's provision, and so that's just the way I'm looking at it. New Jerusalem, no oceans either. No oceans. Not sure I know what you mean there, Watchman. Jesus said, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." We have to continue to learn how to gather these living foods, preserve them, and how to prepare them for our sustainability. You're absolutely right, New Days. Next week is Passover, Exodus, time of year, so believe in good. Yeah, that's right. There you go. Arnold Schmidt, they say peace, peace, and in 1 hour Babylon shall be laid to waste. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Arnold. It's going to happen like a thief in the night. Bell, the writing was on the wall. Yep, you're absolutely right. We're already seeing how Christians are being treated throughout the world. Yes, we are. Yep, and this in the United States, it's an anomaly. This is not normal. We have it good. All right, and very soon things are going to change. The brothers even going to turn on each other. You're absolutely right, Watchman. That's why we've got to be ready to flee if we have to. We're already seeing how Christians. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Hi, Wise Al. Doug is a blessing in the perilous times. Thank you, Watchman. I really, really appreciate that. Keep witnessing. It's a help to all. Definitely appreciate it, Vanessa. Well, it looks like I'm all caught up on the comments. I'm going to end it with a good view of that mountain right there, the Franklin Mountains. I want you guys to remember this, okay? Even though this mountain looks barren, I promise you, God's provision still rests on this mountain. Even though it looks like there's nothing here, there actually is a lot. Just have faith in God, trust in God. Don't let all these things that are happening all over the world get you down. Don't let these things cause fear in your heart, because fear is the absence of faith. All right? Fear is the absence of faith. And if you don't have faith and you don't have hope, you have already lost. So trust in God and rest under the shadow of his wings. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And as always, don't forget, help out your neighbors. Bye.